Hey, what's up everybody? It's O versus A, and we are going to be having an epic 2v2 between mouzMaNa and mouzThorZaIN, and they're going to be spawning at the top right versus EmpireKas and Aristeo. And this is going to be a 2v2, and there's nothing else to add, so we're just going to have to wait and see how this game is going to unfold, what epicness is about to ensue. And we are just going to have to wait and see. So this is going to be a P and T versus a ZVT, or just ZT. I know it's kind of confusing, but we're just gonna ThorZaIN is just gonna go for the straight up wall up at the ramp, and I'm just gonna get into the habit of kind of fast forwarding the game a little bit, because in the beginning nothing much really happens. I'll probably do that less and less in the future once I get more comfortable with casting, and then I can think of a billion things to talk about. But for now, I'm just gonna kind of fast forward it, and yeah, nothing else. I want to work on not repeating myself as well. But anyways, enough about me. EmpireKas is just gonna go for the straight up pretty standard build. This is actually very standard for the Terran. My computer's kind of freezing a little bit too quick. ThorZaIN, actually, this is not standard for a Terran player. He's going for 2 racks pressure, no gas. And we're just going to have to see if this is going to pay off. mouzMaNa is going to try to follow it up with most likely a 4-gate, something like that. Maybe 3-gate Robo, 2-gate Robo, and follow it up with an Expo. There are a ton of variety. I need to move this plate. There are a ton of builds you can kind of go off of what Mana is doing. He has a little bit inefficient mining there, but that's okay. It's only like 1 gas every 5 minutes, something like that he's losing. Not that big of a deal. So Aristeo does have his speed almost done. EmpireKas putting up a bunker because he notices something fishy. Oh, I don't know, maybe because there are like 2 barracks here, something like that. And it's always good to have like a build like that, because you're going to be able to expand off of that, because you're not grabbing your gas until later. So you most likely grab that command center. I'm going to slow it down now to just the regular speed, but once you build those 2 barracks, you're not going to grab your gas for a while, because you're going to have really inefficient mining. You're going to have way too much gas left over in the future. So it's good to grab your command center after you put down the 2 barracks, and then make it into orbital command, all that other good stuff, then grab your gas. Aristeo, he's kind of late on his expo, but in a 2v2, mechanics are way different than 1v1. You don't want to go for your expo right away, because if the players are going to be putting on a lot of pressure, you're pretty much screwed. And he lost 1 ling right there. That's kind of a big deal. 25 minerals lost. I don't know how they are going to recover from that. And bad jokes aside, let's see. Aristeo is actually getting a good scout off at his opponent's base. By opponent, I mean his ally. He's just seeing exactly what his ally is doing with that Overlord. Good scout. And this Overlord, in all seriousness, this Overlord is going to see that the Protoss player is going to be going for an expo, and they obviously know ThorZaIN is going for an expo, because those links were trying to delay that command center. So that's why Aristeo is trying to come out with his own expo, and EmpireKas, he's going to try to come out with something. But the advantage that they have is they have tanks. I don't think ThorZaIN has any tanks. He's making one right now. His siege tech is not done yet. And this is actually a pretty decent composition. I don't know how effective it is on the battlefield. I don't know if this would even be effective at all. I kind of changed my mind. Who knows? Tanks who slow push are pretty effective. I would kind of recommend Kaz getting some Vikings as well, to give these tanks the 1 extra range that they need, and they are going to be able to take out this bunker no problem. He's going to try to, nope, not try to salvage it. Way too late for that. Might even lose this pylon as well. Yes, he does. There would be a canceled if the pylon was canceled, something like that. But actually, really good fungal growth on the infestors. So this was a really good composition. And the tank does get 1 last shot off, kills another infestor. But he did fungal growth all the marines over there, and he sent his slings to kill off all the weakened marines. And the marines are going to die to practically 2 or 3 shots, something like that. And this tank is going to have that 1 extra range that it needs. mouzMaNa has a nice composition. He has the Colossus and everything, but he needs to get some immortals to be able to deal with these tanks, because Kaz has a really good concave over mana right now. And I'm not sure what either of these players could do, because if we look at the supply discrepancy, EmpireKas is way ahead of his counterpart. And Mana is actually behind Kaz as well. And he just grabbed his Expo, so this is a little bit curious. And this Barracks is also a little bit curious as well. But the one thing that they have going for them is that they have an observer, and they know exactly the composition of this, and they're going to know exactly when to move out. And they're just going to wait until the tanks are unsieged, and then they're going to try to attack. But these siege tanks are just going to keep bombarding this Expo. Mana needs to attack as soon as possible, otherwise he's going to lose this Nexus, which would kind of be a big deal. I think he should just go for it right now. It's going to die to a few more oh, it's gone for sure. It's gone now for sure. There's no saving that. He tried sending a Zell over there, a neat little trick to kind of absorb a few shots, but that was not going to happen. This tank giving, or the Viking giving the tank the one extra range that it needs, and it was able to kill off that one lone tank. So a little bit mistake on their part, kind of overextending themselves a little bit, but at the same time they were able to take out an Expo. And if we look at the units lost tab, red player has actually lost the most. And I think it came down to that fungal growth with all those links killing all those marines and tanks. I think it was just one tank, and now they are going to back up. And I think they were just trying to anticipate the fact that Mana was going to get some immortals. Eventually, he finally did get one, and he's making another Colossus. I would have suspected he would have went for more immortals. That would have basically countered what EmpireKas and Aristeo has pretty well. And Observer leaving the game, not that big of a deal. He does have his Thermal Lance, and it looks like our two players over here at the bottom left have a pretty nice sizable advantage right now. I mean, they were able to take out the Expo of Mana, and they were able to kill off a crap ton of units for mouzThorZaIN, but they did snipe an Overseer, I think, or was that an Overlord? I couldn't tell, but either way, these players are still pretty far ahead. They're going to need to do more damage than killing an Overlord and Overseer. But the red player is actually trying to sneak into Expo. Let's go see if this is going to pay off or not. I'm assuming he's going to drop some mules here or something. But wow, really good anticipation by Aristeo. He's actually going to see this command center. He's not going to attack it right away. He's actually going to turn it into orbital command. Okay. I would have suspected he would have lifted it off or something, because there could be counterattack anytime, but a huge attack over here. We need to go back for a second, because they found a timing push to kill everything over here. We have the OP force fields cutting the army in half practically, and this is when they attack. Okay, so they're using the Immortal to soak up all that damage, because tanks practically do 10 damage per shot against an Immortal, and this is a really good concave on the Terran Protoss player's part, and they were able to wreak so much havoc. The Colossus getting a ton of kills, each of them. Look at this Colossus, it's a mentor. Yeah, they're all mentors practically, and that was actually really good push on the Protoss and Terran player's part. And they might lose another Colossus due to these roaches. They did lose one Colossus, almost lost the second one. And what they did was they used the Immortals to soak up the damage at first, and then the Terran player went on with his tank, sieged them up, and he was able to they were able to push out, and this was actually getting themselves back into the game, and now they might actually win. They might have a chance now. And they're going to need to be able to cause a lot of damage, because if they don't, their counterparts do have a pretty nice economic lead going for them. And oh god, these Vikings are going to cause so much damage to these Colossus, and he's just going to need to be as careful as possible. Sniping Observer over there, and these tanks actually causing a lot of damage, actually take out the Expo for the Zerg player. He does have this Expo to rely on, but I doubt they are going to go for that. They're just going to fall back content with the amount of damage that they caused, and he might actually scout this Expo out. And these roaches actually getting over here. Mal is actually transferring a lot more SCVs than I would suspect out of him, and catching a couple tanks off guard. I would just suspect he would shoot with them or something. Otherwise, he's going to lose both tanks. Luckily, not both tanks, just one of them. but that tank took a little bit too much damage, and these roaches causing a lot of damage. Look at them. 8 kills, 2 kills, 7 kills, so that's a total of 17 SCV kills. Not too shabby, and they might get a couple Hellions as well, but this tank over here is going to try to cause as much damage as possible by killing these roaches, killing another roach. Keep in mind, siege tanks do bonus damage versus armored units. Roaches are armored. They only have 145 health, 25 damage per second. Do the math. That's like 5 shots dead, something like that. I think I can do math pretty effectively. And how are they going to break this concave? This is what I'm really curious to see. How are they going to break this? Now, the Terran player does have Hellions. He has his tanks set up in a well spread out. Now, what they could get is some Thors, because possibly some Mutalisks could wreak havoc on this if there were enough Mutalisks. Because there aren't that many Marines, and there are quite a few Stalkers. But if there were a crap ton of Mutalisks, like 30, something like that, that would be able to take out this army pretty easily. And I feel like Aristeo is going to go for a Nidus Worm or something like that. Otherwise, why is he moving his Overlord over here so promiscuous? And we are... Oh, he is putting a Nidus Worm. Let's go see how much damage this is going to potentially cause. Mana transferring his workers over here. And what are... the Terran and Zerg team up to? It looks like they're not in too good a shape, but Aristeo might make a really good counterattack and cause a lot of damage to the Protoss base. We are going to have to wait and find out, and he does kill a couple Warping and Stalkers and 1 Zealots. Not that too big of a deal for the Protoss player, but if he does lose this Nexus and all these probes, that's really going to hurt him, especially if he loses some pylons and production facilities. Yeah, he's going to kill the reinforcing Nidus Worm. Well, not reinforcing, just in case if the Zerg player tries to run away or something like that. But he does kill, and he might also get the Twilight Council as well. But he does get the main Nexus, so that's going to hinder the Protoss from getting a lot of gas. And he's going to kill a few more units as well. Really good focus fire on his part. So there are a few more minerals left over here. I'm not sure if it would be worth it for him to put another Nexus, considering how few minerals are over here. I would do it for mainly the gas part, and you really need to snipe this Overlord. Otherwise, it's just going to set down another Nidus Worm, something like that. But our Terran player did actually take my advice. I'm kind of surprised. And he did set up, or he did get some Thors. And our Terran and Zerg player are going for another counterattack. They're just trying to cause as much damage as possible. The multitasking of these players are really powerful. They're just Nidus Worms everywhere, drops everywhere, trying to cause as much damage as possible. Because at this point, when they lost this whole entire army at the middle of the map, that kind of changed the name of the game right now. And he is going to lose all those Marines and medevac, not causing too much damage, maybe killing off a few probes, something like that. But I'm not sure if these drops are worth it or not. I feel like they're just doing it more to buy some time to make a gigantic army. And this is a pretty sizable army. This could fend off the Protoss and Terran army if they really want to. Oh my god, so many SCVs going down. If we look at the income tab, that really hurts to watch. I don't know what our Terran player EmpireKas was thinking. He probably thought the contain was gone, but he was dead wrong. And these Hellions are going to roast this command center. Eventually it'll catch on fire, burn away. Yeah, not looking too good for these players, but at the same time, I've seen some pretty amazing comebacks in my day. So we're just going to have to wait and see. This is actually a really interesting game. Having a blast casting this. Mana actually sending down a random pylon over here to reinforce his ally whenever he needs it. And another Nidus Worm going down over here, and we are about to see if it's going to cause as much damage as he needs to. And if he does snipe all these factories, that's going to hinder the production capability of ThorZaIN drastically. It looks like he's just going to go straight for the add-ons. Might actually catch a couple tanks as well. Probably going to siege the tanks over here. I assume that would be a good idea. Actually, not too good of an idea because it's way too close to the cliff. And, ooh, that was actually a pretty nifty play on his part. Actually saving the tanks by repairing with the SCVs. And he didn't really accomplish anything out of this attack besides killing a few add-ons. Might get a factory. And he didn't even... He sniped a couple tanks that were on top over here, so... I don't know. But he is trying to counterattack over here. He sent a bunch of lings. There's just attacks going on all over the map right now. And I'm just wondering, did these lings kill a crap ton of SCVs? I don't know. Let's look at the income and find out. Not as many as you would think. Probably the SCVs got away safely and transferred over here. Or over here, something like that. Where are all his SCVs? That's what I'm curious about. He does have like 3 over here. How does he have 69? 46, my bad. I was looking at the Protoss player. But he did roast quite a few lings with those Hellions. And I would say it's a worth it attack for Aristeo. And it looks like he's just going to go straight for Broodlords. And if he does get the Broodlords, that's going to be a definite power composition for our... Oh, huge attack going on right now. This is going to be the deciding factor. Who's going to win this game? Blinks the Stalkers on top of the tanks. Massive damage caused upon our Terran player EmpireKas. These tanks causing so much damage. These Vikings actually able to snipe all the Colossus, but it's not going to be enough because how are they going to kill all these tanks? Where are the Thors that when you need them? And he is trying to warp in some Broodlords, but it was just not going to be enough. He was not going to be able to fend this off because the Stalkers could blink under the Broodlords pretty easily. They just lost their whole entire army, and they didn't GG out, but I mean, it's just a for fun game, something like that. It was just probably a fun 2v2 where they're just messing around, all that other good stuff. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this cast, and there are actually 3 games. I'm going to think about whether or not if I'm going to do a best of 3 series where I'm just going to cast all 3 games. And I think this tournament actually was for money. I believe so. I'm going to have to double check on that, do a little bit of research. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.